in your leadership role, would you have an approach to test cases in which which would involve the interests of all protected characteristics being balanced? What I'm getting at is sometimes in a test case, there might be a competition of rights between two different protected characteristics. Would you, in your leadership role, take the view that it was your duty to balance the interests of all protected characteristics?
Well, I'd be curious to know what the test case would look like, because it's certainly a very interesting suggestion. I think the thing I would say about competing rights, that there's several different things that impact in your decision making in that regard. Apart from the fact that rights can be exponential and resources are finite. So there'll be an element of balancing, proactive, and reactive work in those rights. At one point in time, something may be more significant and matter more, have a greater impact. The impact is quite important. You go where your evidence leads you, and you find that while you see equality and human rights as complementarities and not as substitutes, there is the issue of proportionality. And were you to find yourself in a position where you could have a test case that would highlight all of the rights in one fell swoop, that would bring redress in all of the rights in one fell swoop, that would be fantastic. And of course, that should be something that should be embraced by the Commission.
I suppose what I'm getting at, Baroness Falkner, is at the moment there is a heated debate in the public sphere about potential competition between the rights of those with the protected characteristic of gender reassignment and the rights of those with the protected characteristic of sex in relation to single-sex spaces. What I'm wanting to establish is whether it would be your view that it's the duty of the Equality and Human Rights Commission to approach all test cases with a fair balance between the interests of all protected characteristics rather than favouring one over the other.
I think as a principle, that's absolutely right. But I think in its specificities, it would very much depend on what the policy framework was and what the strategic aims of the particular case were.